So going on here, Terrifier 3. Then we want a couple things I wanted to touch on. So the returning cast. So we have, just kind of go over the cast here. So we have Lauren Lavera, who plays Sienna Shaw. She obviously comes back, so spoilers, she survives Terrifier 2. And that's actually where she made her first appearance, was Terrifier 2. Love her character. So she comes back, she makes a return. Of course, Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton, as I mentioned. He's in all three of them, including this third one here, obviously. So he's returned. Jonathan Shaw was Sienna's brother. Elliot Fulham, I wanted to say. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but Elliot Fulham, yeah. So he returns as Jonathan Shaw. And Victoria Hayes, played by Samantha Scafidi. Again, apologies if I mispronounced your name, Scafidi. Samantha Scafidi. She's returns from the second one as well. So you have these four characters here that I have on the screen. Sienna, Jonathan, Art, and Victoria. And so I was reading these posters here that they have, these character posters, and they have the Sienna as the final girl, which makes sense, right? Jonathan, survivor. The Art as the, what does that say? The
Jolly.
I can't even, the jolly, the jolly one, I think it was. And then the witch was Victoria. And so for those of you that aren't familiar with horror movies, the final girl, what that means is basically, it's literally just a girl who survives to the end, to the finale in a movie. Yeah. So you have, Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, Ellen Ripley in Alien and Aliens. Nev Campbell, yes, good one, yep, and Scream, yep. So those are all considered final girls. And now Sienna, yeah, and awesome, right? She just did a great job, and we'll kind of get a little more on that. But yes, awesome final girl to have to that history of final girls in horror movies. All right, so opening scene. I mentioned earlier that Damien Leone, one of the reasons why he didn't want to get financing from big studios is because he was pretty sure that just with the opening scene alone that they weren't going to. They were probably going to have him edit it or modify it in some way. But that's one of the ones where it kind of, it honestly, it didn't need to be in there. It was kind of more to, like we were touching on, just like the fun factor ish, if you want to call it that, just kind of something, kind of to have fun with the movie, the whole Christmas theme. It starts off with that whole sequence, I should say.
It was like a James Bond opening sequence.
Yeah, yeah. The trailers, I'm sure you've seen it, and that's what this applies to. Is that's where this opens up, is this whole opening scene, and you have the little girl, the son, the mom and dad. The way it opens, it kind of seems like your kind of cliche Christmas movies where like the little girl's, I heard a noise on the roof, and it was kind of, again, kind of going back to the humor and kind of poking fun at some of those traditions of Halloween Christmas movies type of thing, or I should say the Christmas movies. And and then from there it kind of just goes on, and that's where Art makes his appearance and wreaks havoc and just takes out everybody, including the sons, the brothers. Yeah. So I want to get back to you on that, on your thoughts, Dan. But he takes out the girls of her brother first, and he's probably like 10 or 12. And I heard people kind of mention that there's kids being killed in this, but they don't actually show him being murdered. It was more like the aftermath, right?
They hear the axe, like you hear the axe, like that's.
Yeah, he's talking, and you hear him talking, thinking it's his sister, and then you hear the axe, like Alex was saying, and then he goes into the parents' room and he takes them out, the dad and the mom. The chase scene is with the mom, and the little girl's just hiding the whole time and watching, and then and the mom runs into the kid's room, when she's being chased, to see if the son is all right. And then she sees his parts all over the bed. And again, with the makeup and the prosthetics and stuff like that. So she screams. Art ends up getting her. So after he's murdered all three of them, he's having his milk and cookies. He's all in the Santa
I love that scene.
So,
I love how
yeah. Again, going back to the reactions, he has to make a point to eat the cookies and dip it in milk, right? He does the whole thing, just dipping in the milk.
Yeah.
And then he hears the noise and under the cupboards, under the kitchen sink, and then that's where he finds the little girl. So my question to you, Alex, first, what were your thoughts on that whole opening scene, and then what do you think happened with the little girl?
Oh, she died.
Do you think so?
Yes, of course. Yes. Yes, like that's like that's what I liked about these movies too. Like they really don't pretend that that wouldn't happen. You know, like
Mhm.
most movies, like when kids are on screen, like they always survive most of the time.
Yeah.
It's not cool, but it's like, yeah, that would happen. Like that would happen. Like it's not like he's gonna, oh, okay, yes, I'm a forgiving clown. But I like the scene. I saw some people saying that this scene was more disturbing than the one in the bedroom. I don't think so. I think the bedroom scene is way worse.
Yeah.
And but I liked it. I think it was funny. It set the tone for the movie. It was like this
Yeah.
James Bond opening sequence where it's like, okay, so you thought we had blood and guts in the previous ones. This is what we're gonna be doing now. It's Christmas
Yeah.
time. What
Yeah.
I don't like, what I don't like about it is that there's no connection to it later in the movie.
Yes.
I was expecting maybe to be the parents or
Right.
some of the characters there or
Yeah.
something that connected to the rest of the story, but it was just something isolated and that felt kind of odd to me. But I think it was a good opening sequence. That cookie milk moment is outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. It was, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of think that it was a little disjointed, right? And there were some parts cut out because you're right. Yeah, I did notice that too. Like it was just that opening scene or sequence was just, yeah, it did set the tone of the movie, but it kind of was just something to have in there just as, again, just for entertainment, right? Just to kind of show and just kind of have fun. But you're right. It they don't touch on it again, and that's something where I think that they could have did they could have probably did better with on in overall in the writing. That's an example of how the writing could have been better. But again, it probably just goes back to maybe something had to be cut, and so Damien Leone was just like, you know what, we'll leave this in here. It's a fun sequence, and we'll kind of maybe that's something that's just he wanted, right? It's his movie; he could do whatever he wants. So,
yeah, and like I was saying, like it's the movie is not really about the story. Like the movie's
yeah,
about like if a clown killing people, and that scene like makes a point. It makes a point, and it tells you like I think that I'm not in his head, but I think it's telling you like, okay, he doesn't care about killing kids. Like
yeah,
he is serious. He is not your average clown killer. It's like this is you thought Pennywise was scary. Okay, look at this guy. Like he doesn't have any sense of conscience or whatever. Like he doesn't care,
yeah.
and it works. It works. Like I like that opening scene, and his Santa Claus costume is awesome.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a good point. That's for one, yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, you're right in that. I think now thinking about it, that's probably why they showed that to kind of show that art, how evil he actually is, and he kills kids as well. He kills kids in there. The reason I ask about the little girl surviving is because I was reading some comments that possibly she could come back in the sequel. So maybe he did for whatever reason, because there's always, that rule. Well, I wouldn't call it a rule, but there's always that kind of trope where if you don't see somebody die in the movie, then there's a chance they could be alive, and sometimes they do come back, right? And then they do a flashback in like the sequel or the continuation movie to show how they actually lived, right? There's always that thing that they kind of play on. So I don't know. That's kind of where I kind of at with that. Like they didn't show her, or even like imply that he killed her. So I'm thinking she could be alive and she could come back in the sequel. So that's what I'm thinking. But I don't know. Why he would have let her live, I don't know. That's just, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he did kill her, but I'm thinking,
why? Like
yeah,
he doesn't care.
because he did let some people live in this movie as well, right? There's a couple of people that he just let go.
A guy in the subway.
Yeah, the guy in the subway that was dressed like him, and then the two girls, kind of touch on this, but the two girls leaving the bar where he saw Santa for the first time, he just kind of pushed them aside, and like they just end up leaving. And so, yeah, he didn't like really do anything to him or go after him or anything like that. He just kind of left him because I guess he was just focused on Santa. But yeah, so there were some instances I think where he had let some people leave him or live. So I don't know. You never know. He's unpredictable, right? You don't know what his intentions are, and so. But I will say, I think there is a story to this. I think, I think whether it's as a complex or in depth, maybe it's not. I would say that, yeah, it wouldn't be as complex. It's not a complex story, but I think there is a story there, and there's some lower mythology built that Damien Leone was trying to go for that I kind of enjoyed, and so we'll touch on that here a little bit on what that is. But I actually kind of like the mythology in this from, I guess, in 2 and 3. It wasn't so much in 1, but it was more in 2 and 3. So it started with 2 on setting that up, and it continues in this one. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, so speaking of opening scene, so we go from that, then Sienna. One of the things I liked about the movie also was just how it portrays, how Sienna's character was written, how it portrays her kind of coping from the effects from Terrifier 2. Right, and there's not too many movies where you kind of see like a direct continuation of the characters and kind of dealing with or coping with whatever events or how it affects them in the sequel, right? I mean, sometimes it's kind of implied, or they kind of have something to kind of like summarize it. But here she's actually she's talking with her friends, and you can see that she's actually seeing visions of things and nightmares, and she can't sleep well. And so I actually liked how they approach it. And one of the reasons why, like I was mentioning on the story and the writing of her character, I actually liked that. It was really cool to see kind of her, and she actually like lashed out. And she was seeing again, touching on the Terrifier 2, she saw her dead friend at the table when she was eating with her aunt and uncle, right? And they were like, it was like in the eating breakfast or something, and then she saw, I think her name was Brooke from Terrifier 2. She was sitting next to her.
Yeah. She's suffering from like severe PTSD, and it's like the only character that I can think that goes through something like that was the Scream Neve Campbell's character. What was her name? Sydney Prescott.
Sydney,
she's also, Sydney, she's traumatized, and you can see that in the whole, like the first 2 movies at least. Yeah. And here it's like it's more. Funny, but it feels more real how Sienna is acting. Like it feels more like, you would be completely disturbed, and you would have nightmares, and you would be seeing things and feeling unease all the time. So
exactly, and that's one of the reasons why I like this one. Well, her character more so in this one is just I thought that was written really well. So props to Damien for, especially in that time frame, he made sure he wanted to do her justice and write her character properly, and it came through. So, and obviously shout out to Lauren Lavera for killing in that role, because I think she did a great job. Throughout the whole movie, she was really well acted. I can feel her. The stress, the emotions, the anxiety, just all that trauma, how that affects her. And it came across pretty well, honestly. So I think she did a great job. Yeah. So she's definitely felt for her in some of those, throughout the whole movie in those scenes. And then, when we get to the end, oh man, she turned it on. So really cool. Any other thoughts on Sienna's character, or just any of the other characters? Her brother, Jonathan, and the returning characters
I think like out of all the characters, Sienna is the only one that really has development. I think he focused a lot on that. Jonathan's character, like it feels like I was like, what's the point of having him here? All of his scenes feel cut. You really don't know what's happening with him. Like there's a point in the story where you're like, but where is he? What's happening? Is he really dead?
Yeah.
What's going on? And with him, I do think that he's alive. Yeah. But still, I don't know. Like, why? Like, I've always been annoyed with movies when they bring back characters and there's not really a point of bringing them back. Just use them as a plot device or something like that. And with him, I think it was more like triggering Sienna that final scenes than anything else. I think actually the little cousin took the place of Jonathan in the second one, because it's kind of the same thing. Like
Gabby.
Yeah, Gabby. Like Sienna is saving her, and on the second one, she's saving her brother. And
that's true.
I don't want to skip too much ahead. Like you guide us, and I'll I don't
Yeah,
want to go
no
through that.
thanks. Yeah, appreciate that. But yeah, no, I agree that there. Yeah, Jonathan's character in this one, you can see he was moving on because there were some parts where like he did explain that, and there was moments where speaking of, him and Sienna when they were talking, and she was kind of, they kind of were, she was expressing how I think she had when she had after she had saw Art again, she was trying to talk to him, and he was like, I'm just trying to move on. So it was kind of weird. Where there were some situations where he actually seemed more like he was coping better than she was, and I don't know if he was just hiding it, but yeah, it's weird. Like his character didn't show a lot of development, but in that instance when they were talking, he showed more maturity at that time than she did. So it kind of seemed like he was handling it better, because she got pissed at him and she was kind of calling him out for, you think you're too good because now you're going to school. Because now in this third one, he's going to school, he's in college, right? And he's trying to, and it shows him actually doing that, right? I think they did a good job of showing him trying to live on with his life and kind of go back to what he can. And so he's in school, and although they don't show too much as far as the school aspect, they just show he's going to college and he has a roommate.
Yeah, a stupid roommate. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he was going to like a party and stuff. So he's trying to live his life, and he tells Sienna, like, at least I'm trying. He kind of pushes back, and he's like, while Sienna's yelling at him, what do you think, you're too good? And, why are you trying to forget about what happened? And he's like, I'm trying to basically just live on. And so I thought that was really cool how they incorporated that into his character. Like they wrote that in there to show that he's just coping with it differently, right? He seems like he's
in denial, the way I see it. Like he was in denial. Yeah, like I think in a moment they mentioned something like he's acting like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Like if it was some crazy moment, and like I like the part when they say that if it wasn't for him, Sienna would be in jail because they took her to court to blame her for all the murders.
I don't remember that one. Did they say that?
Yeah.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, she had to go through court, and she was in trial. Yeah.
Okay. I think
it was because he was a witness that he didn't get put in jail for life.
Okay. Was that like in a paper or?
No, that was a scene. That was a scene.
Wow, I'm totally blanking on that one. Yeah, okay, I must say, yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't remember exactly where it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the scene. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's because I didn't really think about that. Yeah, even with me missing it, that didn't even come to mind. Like, okay, what happened? And I thought maybe in the beginning, I think it might have been when her aunt was talking with her husband. With Sienna's aunt was talking with, I guess her uncle. It may have been there, but yeah, I don't. That's good. That's a good point. I don't recall hearing or even thinking about. Okay, well, what was the aftermath? Like as far as like the whole legal issues, like what happened to him, and who was tried or like that. But I think I remember hearing the news. Like when they showed the news in the movie, they were talking about the clown. What is it called? The blanking on what they called him. The something Mill County clown.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember either. I used to be really good with names. Now I'm terrible.
Yeah. Miles County, I think Miles County Killer or Clown or something like that. Something like that.
I think it was something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's just those characters, I think that they were just there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think for sure they had some fodder, some like people to kind of have bodies for victims for art, but
that story I like the mythology part, when they try to go into that, I'm not a fan of that.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
that. I'm curious to hear more of your thoughts on that, but I do want to touch on that, but I do agree Sienna's character development from 2 and 3 was improved, and it was it was well done so far, so I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it, but all right, so that we go from there to now. So I forgot to mention, as you guys know, we're in the spoiler territory, but the opening was, that was one scene. They jump back. I think it was like 5 years later, and that's where we kind of catch up with Sienna and the brother and how they're all doing. And then it comes back to present day, And oh, I'm completely forgetting. There's some scenes here. I'm jumping out of order, but yeah. So yeah. So there was a scene where
the cop finds the body. Like that's right after the first scene, the opening sequence. The cop finds the headless body of Art.
Yeah, in the asylum, right? In the psychiatric ward or the asylum or whatever, where Vicky was kept. And that's actually kind of a continuation from Terrifier 2 at the very end. As a reminder, they see Vicky. I guess the staff that work there, they go into Victoria's room. The Vicky, who's from the first Terrifier, right? She was the one with the mutilated face. That's Vicky. They see her in the room, and she had given birth to an Art's head. After
Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank
you. She's the Virgin Mary.
On the evil side, the evil Virgin Mary. Yeah. That's basically what happened. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So yeah, Terrifier 2, Sienna cuts off Art's head, and then towards the end of that film, then we see Vicky with Art the clown's head, and yeah, the girl's like freaking out. The nurse or whoever that checks on her was freaking out. So, anyways, cut to Terrifier 3. Yeah, the one again, some nurse goes to check up on her, and I forget what happened or how she ended up. I think she was gonna give her food or medicine or something, but
no, she opens it. She goes into the room in the second one at the end, and Victoria kills her, and yeah, that's why she's there. And then
But do you remember what she went in for?
Because she was screaming.
Oh,
she was screaming, and she sees the Art head.
I see. Yeah,
in her lap,
because she felt like blood or something, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
and she freaks out, and
gotcha.
Then the ponytail guy.
Yeah,
in the third one goes there and
then that's where he sees Art eating that nurse's face, and Vicky's just like laughing, and okay, so opening scene, like I mentioned, then they jump back 5 years. It says 5 years prior to the whole Sienna thing. We catch up with him, with Jonathan, Sienna. And then it actually picks up again from Terrifier 2, so where Sienna chops off Art's head at that amusement park, right? We see a cop kind of show up. He comes to the scene. He goes in. He sees Art's body on the floor. Art comes back to life somehow. His body, right? His headless body. He just comes up and attacks the cop. And man, yeah, that what I wasn't expecting, right? So he chokes the cop out, and it kind of cuts out, and then they show Art's body going onto the subway train. You remember that? And then he sits down. Yeah, and the camera pans up, and it has the cop's head, right? The cop that had went to go investigate the scene. I guess Art's body had ripped it off and put it on the body, right? So that was his temporary head. It was just funny. I was not expecting that at all. So when I saw that, that was pretty funny. And he was just kind of holding it there. And there was a lady, of course, one lady sitting across from him.
Staring at him.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was funny.
And it's Halloween night, so...
yeah, and it was totally passable, right? She was just kind of thinks like, okay, she's kind of a little freaked out, but yeah, still, it was just kind of funny. Like the whole, the effect on that, just like the prop that they used, was just kind of, it was pretty good. It was pretty funny too. So then, the body keeps on going, keeps on walking making its way back to Art. Well, I should say, it's making its way to Victoria and Art in the asylum. And then that's where, that also picks up for what we see at the end of Terrifier 2, where Victoria, or Vicky, had just given birth to the head. And Art's head, I should say. And so, that picks up from there. All right. So after Art reattaches his head to his body, him and Victoria, they escape the asylum, right? Or wherever Vicky's at, wherever she's kept at hospital. And they make their way back to the house. I'm guessing it was like their hideout or whatever. I don't recall seeing that in the second one. But yeah, this was interesting. I wanted to get your take on this. So they just go into the house. Victoria ends up, I think at that point she's still Victoria, but she's possessed by the demon, I want to say, but she's still Victoria. And then she kills herself, right? She slits her wrist in the tub, and she just kind of dies. And Art just sits in the chair and just like, he's just there. That part wasn't really clear to me what was going on there. I guess they went into some sort of like hibernation.
That's what I thought, but it was like I couldn't understand. Like I just saw it like you, like they go to hibernation, they go to sleep for 5 years, and someone magically shows up 5 years later.
Yeah, 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 and that's yeah. So my mistake, and that's where that's where it cuts back to
Present day.
yeah, present day. After that, yeah, that's right. Thank you. That's where it cuts back to present day. So, but yeah, it was just weird. I didn't understand how that whole thing worked. You know, Art was obviously he's resurrected. I think he's like a semi. I don't know if he's an actual demon or a full demon. I don't know how that works because I know the little pale girl in Terrifier 2 was a demon, and then in this one, uh, Victoria, she ends up being the demon in this third one. So, but I'm not sure what Art is. I don't know if he's also a demon or what. But yeah, he just kind of sits down and he just with his smiley face, he freezes and he goes into hibernation with his eyes
Yeah.
and his smile, and it's weird. And then yeah, 5 years later or present day, I forgot how much time has passed. I guess it was 5 years.
It was 5 years. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. And then that cleaning crew comes. Those two guys, they come in the house, and that's where again I'm not sure how or why, but Victoria kind of reanimates, and so does Art. Victoria kills that one guy and stabs him in the neck with a piece of glass, the same glass she used to cut her wrist, and
Yeah, and she has fun with the glass.
yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was reminiscent to The Exorcist.
yes, good call. Yeah, good call back. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, and so that scene, actually, that's the scene where I mentioned the couple got out. That's the scene just after that where
That's
the
the
lady
scene.
left. She stood up and she just started walking out, and then yeah, a few seconds after the guy left. So that was the scene after that, and that was about 35 minutes into the movie after that. And I was like, oh man, I don't blame her. She's probably had enough. She probably just got up and left. But yeah,
Yeah, like
she
Art's
was
supernatural strength, like opening
yeah.
someone's skull with his bare
Yeah.
hands. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That, like, and Alex mentioned, yeah, she was, after Victoria came to life and killed one of the guys, then, you know, she was, pleasuring herself while Art was handling the other guy. Yeah. And
With a glass.
that was pretty,
With a piece of glass.
yeah, with the same glass I think she used to kill that guy. So that was, yeah, that was an interesting, that was a unique scene there. I was like, whoa, okay, we're going there, huh? And so yeah, and yeah, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because again, it's Terrifier, right? But that's just
Yeah.
stuff that you're kind of now, you know, for those of you who've seen it, you know to expect that. And for those who haven't seen it, yeah, spoilers, as I said. Yeah, I don't know what are your. So I guess it sounds like that's still a mystery, right? Like why they went into hibernation for that long, or even like how that even works, or you know if that just took so much energy from.
I have no idea why.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly think that it's because they wanted an excuse to jump in time 5 years, or I don't know. Like it was, I think they just used it as a plot device to
Yeah,
go into the future, just to
yeah,
have Jonathan in school, university, or college, or whatever. And yeah, I think they just did it for that. But
yeah.
I
It could
wasn't
have been, yeah.
really questioning a lot of that because, like I
You're
was
like,
saying,
eh.
like it's this is terrifying.
Yeah, it's Terrifier. Yeah, you weren't expecting
Yeah,
too much. Oh, yeah, I'm just here to have a good time.
yeah,
Yeah, I gotcha.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
nothing
so
makes sense. Like you can't open
right,
a skull like that. So
right. No, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some boundaries there, and within like the supernatural. Like, this is obviously a supernatural movie. I was just kind of curious what, because for
yeah,
the most part, there's something they did a good job of it, of at least touching on some things on why certain things are going on. More so in this one, in Terrifier 3, that references back to Terrifier 2. Because if you watch Terrifier 2, there's some things that why is this going on? Like why is Art?
yeah.
Why is he coming back to life? What's this little pale girl? So that didn't really, yeah, a lot of that didn't make sense. You kind of, like you were saying, I was just watching it just because it's Terrifier. You kind of hear just
These two
to
feel
enjoy.
more connected. Like
Yeah, for sure.
second and third one feel more like it's trying to tell a more cohesive story.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking it's obviously gonna continue, right? Because there's still some questions that we have. So I think they're gonna explain some things in Terrifier 4 that happened in this third one, right? They're just basically gonna do the same thing and just explain a little more. So maybe they may touch on why they went into hibernation or how much energy or
Yeah.
whatever they have or why they need to do that. So yeah, they reanimate. We touched on that, and we see Art finally coming upon how he got the Santa suit. So yeah, he goes to the bar, right? He's walking past his bar, and this, I think this is probably one of my favorite sequences in the film. It's just this whole interaction with this Santa, and let me see here. I think I saved a couple of images here. So yeah, he goes through. He's walking, and he kind of just, again, going back to how well David Howard Thornton, just his expressions and how he nailed it, and just being that silent actor, like kind of going back to the silent film era, and just his expressions. Just this sequence alone is one of the reasons why I was saying it kind of leans more on the comedy. The comedy. He's walking, he sees Santa through the window, and he kind of gets excited, and then you can kind of see here in this photo, he's just surprised. He looks genuinely surprised, and it doesn't seem like he's the character. Anyways, it doesn't seem like he's kind of making a joke. It seems like he's actually like happy to see Santa, and then he sells it. David Thornton sells it so well, and it reminds me of Buddy in the movie Elf. Where he's like,
Yeah.
Santa, yeah, and I was just laughing so much. I think this is one of the scenes that one of the sequences where me and others were kind of laughing, just because, yeah, just his reactions. I have a couple more here too. He's just kind of pointing here at the Santa, the little Santa decoration on the wall. He's like, "It's you, it's really you," but he's not saying it. No, he's just all, again, showing through his emotions, and he's waving at him. Again on the right, Santa waves at him. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And Art kind of does that, like, "Hi." Oh man, just looking at these photos just makes me laugh.
Yeah,
It's just so
it was a
good.
good sequence. Yeah.
And yeah, it was just, and obviously from there he kind of goes, he ends up peeing on his leg, and
Yeah,
everything's turned for the worse.
Yeah. And, like, I think the biggest mistake that Santa made was like telling him, you need to have a real beard if you want to be Santa Claus. Like,
Oh, that's right, yeah.
you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I wonder if it was that. It seemed like things turned when he bought him a shot. He bought him a drink when Santa, the guy playing Santa, bought Art a drink, and I guess Art didn't like the way it tasted. Remember, he spit it on Santa's face,
Yeah.
and then they all turned to like, "Oh, what the hell? Like, why did you do that? What's your problem?" So from there, they started giving Art a hard time, and I wonder. I don't know. Do you think if they didn't get pissed at him for that, like things would have turned out differently, or do you think he was already going in there?
No, I
with
think
the intent of-
I think he was looking for a Santa outfit. Like, I think that's
think
why
so?
he was looking. Yes, because it's no longer Halloween season.
Right.
You can't go around a city dressed up like a clown that killed people a few years ago. I think he sees it as the perfect outfit to keep killing everyone on his path.
I see.
And I think, like,
I see.
before this scene, he already went to the mall and Sienna already saw him there. Oh no, I'm lying.
No, that was after, yeah.
That's-
Because he already had
that's
the
right
Santa
after.
suit when he went.
Yeah, this is right after. But yeah, like, I think he has the perfect plan to blend in.
Yeah.
I think, like,
Yeah.
he was gonna kill him anyway. But the
think so?
fact
Okay.
that Santa told him, like, you need a real beard to be Santa Claus, is like, oh, you're gonna regret this.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think he was already, when he went in there with the intention of killing him and getting his suit? Okay, interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he was genuinely happy and surprised. I'm not still not sold on if he was gonna kill him or not. I think he would have taken his suit, but I don't know. It's interesting because I think he got pissed. But I mean, it is art, so I guess maybe I'm just kind of I'm kind of dumb for thinking that he wouldn't have killed him. But I don't know. I feel like if they didn't get pissed at him for spitting in his face, in Santa's face, then he wouldn't have killed him. That's just my thought, but I don't know. I could be wrong. It just seems like because he was so genuinely happy, and it was just funny to see. And then I was thinking more about
He's
that.
been like that before, like when he goes trick or treating to the bedroom girl's house in the second one. Like, he's genuinely happy and he wants candy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that was another
He-
instance, right? Didn't he go to a couple and like one of the first ones that gave him candy and
Yeah, and he cut off the girl's head and was giving both kids candy from
yeah.
the head.
Was she, that was from Terrifier 2, just to clarify, but that was he, or that lady that he cut off her head, was like the second one, wasn't she? Like one of the ones after that was, denied him candy or was giving him
She was the
like,
one from the
attitude?
bedroom. She was the one from the bedroom.
From the bedroom. Okay, I'm blanking here.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, it's been a minute. I thought there was one where they kind of played along and they gave him candy and he just kind of went on to the next house or something. Or maybe it was just the one. I can't remember. But you're right. Yeah, he was really happy. Yeah, when he got that candy. So yeah, similar situation here. I think he's just seems more happy though. And so I don't know. I think he because someone is equivalent but on the opposite end, like kind of really jolly and happy, who is the opposite of him. I mean, I'm in my head. I'm thinking this is in my head lore that hey, this is my equal. Even though it's obviously not really Santa, but he in his head he thinks that that's Santa and that's his equal as far as like on the good spectrum, on the good side, where Art is obviously the more evil one. On the evil side, he kind of represents his team, so to speak, right? The evil team, and then Santa's repping the good team. And so I think I kind of in my head I'm thinking, okay,
it's a
hey,
valid take. Like this is what's cool about movies. Like everyone has different takes. But I think he was gonna kill him.
Gotcha. No, yeah, that could have been it. Yeah, that definitely could have been it. It was just funny. Yeah, it's just this whole sequence. And then also this had me thinking, not in addition to he kills him, he like, freezes him and he hits him with a hammer, after he made that that fire extinguisher type device that freezes with the cold air that freezes people.
Oh, the liquid nitrogen. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of seems. Yeah, actually, I think that's what it was.
It was definitely freezing rats before with that.
Yeah, to test them. Yeah, but obviously, Christmas. There's Christmas themes in this one. Another movie that this reminded me of was, in addition to Elf, from Art's excitement, was Nightmare Before Christmas. Again, you're combining the two seasons, Halloween and Christmas, and so. Here you have Hart again. He's taking Santa's suit. He's trying to be like Santa, and he does that. We'll hear discussing after this when he goes to the mall. But he's actually trying to play the role, it seems like, of Santa, and also, obviously he wants to kill people as well. He's trying to like have his victims, but he does it as Santa. So it kind of reminded me of Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas, and that was I don't know if that was intentional or not. It was like an homage, or just if Damon Leone was a fan of that, but. Yeah, something else it reminded me of, and kind of add to, I don't know if there's a term for it, but I want to say multi-seasonal films. Maybe name that as a genre. I don't know if there's actually a genre for that, but movies that can basically be used as either or. So you have this one. I would put Nightmare Before Christmas, Die Hard. I know some people don't consider Die Hard a Christmas movie. Violent Night. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's a good one. Yep. Gremlins, right? Horror and Christmas movie, things like movies like that it kind of they can kind of go in either or, and so I would add this to that in that genre personally. But what about you? What would you put this as? Christmas or horror?
Both.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm not the only one.
Yes, both. Yeah. Like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this sequence here?
It's like Die Hard and like
exactly.
Movies. Like they are both action and Christmas movies.
Yeah, Violent Night's a good one. Yeah. I like that one too. I really like that one.
This one, this was my favorite scene. This was my favorite scene. Like it turned crazy really fast, and I love how the only logical person in the whole bar was the bartender. He was the only one. Like something is weird around here. Like this guy is not. He's clearly mentally ill, but doesn't go well for him.
Right. Yeah. Right. And also, I was surprised. Special guest appearance. Clint Howard made an appearance there. He was sitting at the bar next to Santa, and I was really, when I saw him, and I was like, "Oh, damn, it's Clint!" Yeah, I got happy, and he's a horror B movie actor in his own right. He has some other. He was in some films. He was like the star of what was it, like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or something like that. I can forget, but obviously he's Ron Howard's brother, right? The director Ron Howard, and so Clint has. He was also in The Waterboy. I loved his his role in that. He was funny.
He was in Austin Powers.
Yeah, Austin Powers. Yeah, he was one of the guys at the console, right?
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, what the
Johnson.
What his role was. Johnson. Yeah, it looks like a big. Yeah. So he made an appearance in there again. He had like some comedic lines in there. It was cool to see him in there though. I always like it. I always enjoy when they have appearances like that. Yeah, those cameos, yeah,
That's
and
funny.
within the genre, right? The people kind of who are fans, and I take it
It
he was
was
a fan.
funny. I'm like I love Lost. I don't know if you like that show.
I haven't seen it. I heard of it.
But the guy playing Santa and the bartender, both of them were in Lost.
Oh, were they?
Oh, yeah, that was kind of funny. Like seeing both of them there was like, wow.
That's cool. Yeah, I always
Yeah.
like I was gonna mention. I always I want to guess. I want to presume that they were fans of the movie and they had requested to be in the movie. And because otherwise, yes, this movie has a higher budget, but I'm sure if Damien wanted to get somebody, some like a certain actor, he would obviously have to pay for him. So typically, from what I understand, I'm not in the movie business, but if you have people who are fans, they want to be in the movie, they're willing to, maybe take a cut and pay. I speculate. I don't know for sure, but it seems like they would probably do it for less money than they would have if you wanted them, right? Because they want
I
to
think that
do
as
it.
long as they cover like the SAG fees, like the Screen Actors Guild, like as long as
Mhm.
they pay what they're supposed to get paid, like they do it, like because they
Okay,
have to get that, or yeah, or they're
for
struggling.
legal reasons.
Yeah, it's
Gotcha.
for
Yeah,
legal
understood.
reasons.
No, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
understood.
but
No, that
obviously,
makes
like
sense.
for people, I don't know if you wanted Margot Robbie or someone like that. It's like
Yeah,
she's not
you
gonna
would
do
pay.
it for her SAG salary. Like she's
Yeah,
like, I
yeah, no, for sure. That's a good point.
yeah.
But I always like hearing stories like that where people are like, "Oh, I'm a fan and I want to be in. Let me know if you have a role in any upcoming movie or anything like
Like
that."
one that I really like is in Hook, the Spielberg movie. Glenn
Oh
Close
yes, I know where
really
you're going.
wanted to be in there. Like Glenn Close
Yes,
really wanted to be there, and it's like, okay, we'll dress you up as a pirate, and you'll be in the movie. Like a ton of people wanted to be in that movie, and I think that's the one that I can think of right now. But there are other actors who made little appearances in the movie.
yeah, Star Wars too. There's just actors that appear and some want to make cameos, and although you like they come as stormtroopers, so you don't really see their face. I
Yeah,
think
Daniel Craig was
yes,
a stormtrooper. Oh,
that's
now that I
exactly what I was
remember,
thinking.
in Hook, there's a scene when Tinkerbell is flying over a bridge,
Hmm.
and there's a couple kissing, and they
Oh yeah,
fly, and that
yeah,
couple is George Lucas and Carrie Fisher.
that's right. I heard about that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot about that. Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah, Glenn Close. I had heard about that one. I knew of. I had read after the fact. And then you go back and watch. I'm like, oh yeah, that does kind of resemble Glenn Close. But at the time,
yeah.
obviously, when I first saw it when I was younger, I had no idea. But that's really cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just those
Those
are
little
some good
bits are
examples there.
awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I love it. There's
Yeah.
another one, another appearance here that I'll mention when we get to it. On in the movie here that I was surprised to see. And so speaking of, actually, we'll just go ahead and jump into it. So Art gets the Santa outfit and he goes to the mall, and that's where we're saying, again, there's no. This is one of those scenes like no really reason for him to go there, right? It just kind of just seems like no reason at all. He doesn't have to go there,
Right.
other just to kill people.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes to what we both were touching on, where like the script for this one, the story just kind of seems like things, just art being art, excuses for him to kind of put him in like these weird, crazy situations for him to cause chaos and destruction. And yeah, sure enough, yeah, he goes to the mall dressed as Santa, like I was touching on, and he plays the role of Santa. So one of the mall Santas goes and takes a break, and Art fills in. He just shows up. Yeah, and there's all these kids waiting in line, waiting for Santa to come back and with their parents, and then so yeah, Art shows up and he starts
What's
giving out.
what's disturbing about that scene is how little attention the parents pay to this guy. Like they're all on their phones.
Yeah,
Like, dude, you see that? And like, my kid is not gonna go near that guy.
yeah, he's all bloody. He didn't even clean up or nothing. He
Yeah,
was just all bloody, and like how he looks here in this photo right here. That's how he showed up, right? He has blood on his hands, and
yeah.
his all
Like,
his
there's only
costume's all
one
dirty.
or two parents that actually are like, that Santa's freaking me out. Let's get the hell out
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. Who the hell's that? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I think it was kind of there. That kind of goes back to what you're saying. There's some things that are kind of just like, okay, they're kind of, you kind of have to let go, right? Just for
yeah.
the sake of watching the movie, it's just entertainment. Of course, parents aren't probably gonna. They're probably not gonna let their kids go to someone who looks like this, and
You
a
know
lot of the
what?
kids go run up there.
Actually, I think they would.
Do you
Because
think so?
parents, yes, because they are stuck in their phone all the time. They don't pay attention to their surroundings when they're on their phone. So I think it's also like a bit of a social critique
Oh, I see. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that for sure.
Sometimes,
Because
like,
yeah, the one.
sometimes
Yeah, go
parents
ahead.
are like that. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think it's the majority, but a lot of parents are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play on my phone while my kid is doing
yeah,
something dangerous, and then their kids break their head or something, and they get mad at them. And it's like, dude, you need to
yeah,
watch out for your kid.
yeah.
Like, it's a kid. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, they did actually. They did touch on that. The one girl that he first sees, that he waves over her mom. Well, yeah, was on the phone, and she just walks off, and then she ends up looking up and seeing, where her daughter went off to, and you kind of wonder. You're waiting in anticipation, like, oh man, what is Art gonna do to her? And he ends up just pulling out a toy, a Barbie, and giving it to her, and then, and then all the kids start going up there like, oh, Santa's giving out free toys or free gifts or something like that. And so
Yeah.
they all like bombard him, and he's just giving all the kids toys and stuff. So that was just kind of that was kind of funny to see. He's surrounded by kids, and this is where I was kind of touch on earlier. We're about taking kids to film to see this movie when I actually saw kids in the theater, and I've heard others say that they've seen kids go see this movie, and so that kind of made me when I went back and saw this scene again, I'm like, okay, well, these are child actors and they're in the movie, this violent movie. I'm sure they know what it is, and their parents are letting them play the roles in this movie. So I don't know. I kind of maybe some parents or guardians or whoever took their kids to see this, I don't know, maybe they're thinking that's their rationale. I mean, I don't agree with it, but I wonder if like for the sake of it being a movie, just because they know it's not real, or I'm hoping they explain that to their kids, but I wonder if they're using that as their rationale. Like, okay, well, there's kids in the movie. Look at all these kids in the movie, so I'm going to take my kid to go. This should be fine. I'll just explain to them. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Like, I think it's different when you're a child actor. They normally don't give you context to what's really happening. Like for this scene, I'm sure they gave the parents 2 or 3 pages of the script, and it's like,
Mm.
so there's gonna be this clown, and you guys are gonna get presents, and that's it. Like they don't tell the kids like, oh yeah, then you're gonna die from an explosion because the clown's gonna give you a bomb.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and also like when a child actress in a movie like this, there's psychologists there, and they try to explain everything in a rational way to them, and it's their job. It's I think it's different taking a kid to see a movie like this. Like for me, it's very different than to take a kid to watch The Exorcist. Like The
Oh, I see.
Exorcist is horror, but it's more of like a supernatural thing, and I don't know, like it's something that we can question each other for hours if religion or those things are real, and it in a way it can even dwell on fantasy if you want. It's more supernatural stuff. But seeing violent things like this, when you know we live in a violent world where things happen in schools and things like that, like taking a kid to watch a movie like this, I don't think it's a good idea because they already watch a lot of violence everywhere they look. And taking a kid, even if you try to explain to them that this is not real, that this is makeup, still they are beginning to normalize this stuff at a very young age. And I don't think it's okay. Like I think
Yeah,
that's like very bad parenting. And I'm not a parent myself, but it's something that I don't think it's okay. And more because the kind of world that we live in right now. Like,
yeah,
if your kid watches it because he was trying to, break the rules, I get it.
mm.
We've all done it. But you as a parent taking your kid, that's messed up.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a little concerning. Like, I have kids, and so I definitely wouldn't. But that's just me. I wouldn't take them to see a movie like that, or allow them to watch a movie like this. So, but I mean, yeah, it's just obviously that's up to the parents. There's a reason why there's a rating for these movies, and they have to have a guardian to go see these types of movies. So, the guardians or their parents or whoever, if they allow them to watch them, then that's obviously a decision the parents make. Yeah, like I said, I personally wouldn't, and but it's interesting too because I mentioned at the beginning of this video that this franchise expands out beyond the movie, right? And I saw a video on Instagram. I don't know if it was Damien Leone who had sent it out or somebody else, but they had someone. I think it was actually David Howard Thornton dressed up as Art, and he was at some expo or some con or something, and then he would go up, and one of the like this little girl, like a toddler, would go up to him and kind of like shake his hand, or he would have like the horn. I forgot what he was interacting with the kids basically, and so like young kids, and so yeah, there's no context, right? It's just like this scary looking clown.
They like the character, like
Yeah,
break every possible medium. Like people love the clown.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're right. Yeah, they do. Yeah, the clown art is a character, right? He's an icon. He's
Yeah.
in multiple aspects, not just horror, but just like an icon. So
Yeah. It's
yeah,
like
so
Jason. Like I remember when I was a kid seeing kids dressed up as Michael Myers or Jason.
oh yeah,
But I
yep,
don't think like their parents probably thought it was funny, like having this
right,
toddler with a huge Michael Myers
yeah,
mask. It's kind of funny.
or Chucky from Child's Play.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Like this
So
is like
yeah,
I keep thinking of it like as a not parent. Like I think it's very hard to explain things to kids,
it is.
especially
Yeah,
stuff like this.
right. The
How
difference.
can you explain to a kid like, oh yeah, so he's doing this because it's bad. Like he's cutting this guy's head off and putting chlorine on his skin
Yeah,
because it hurts.
yeah,
It's not okay, but it's like how do you explain that? Like it's not even like when you watch a violent action movie, like if you watch Die Hard, yeah, there's people getting shot in there, but it's not the focus of the scene.
right. Yeah, I see what you're
It's
saying.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yep, yeah.
Yeah, the
Well,
Alex, the Karen Alex just walked.
he woke up. Yeah, we
Yeah,
awakened him.
yeah, yeah. Now I'm Karen.
Oh yeah, we'll try to bring you back down here. We'll try to reel
It's
Alex
okay.
back in. Yeah, but so yeah, so as Alex mentioned, Art he does bring out, as you all know, or for most of the bomb goes off, kills everyone in the vicinity, and he's just laughing. And then after the fact in the news, there's like a news story they're reporting on it. One of the witnesses, going back to another cameo, they were interviewing was Tom Savini, which was also surprised to see, and he's also a makeup prosthetic
Yeah,
artist, right?
yeah.
And he's actor, director himself. He was in, for me, most notably, he was in From Dusk Till Dawn, right? He was one of the guys at the bar. He was the one, I forgot what they call him, his
Sex
nickname, but he was
machine.
the one.
Sex machine.
Sex Machine, yeah, thank you, yeah, yes, one of his iconic roles for me. And he's appeared in other stuff, with
He was
Quentin
in Dawn of
Tarantino.
the Dead, the 1978, I think it was.
Oh
The
yeah, you're
George
right. Yeah, that's
Romero.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, another iconic, yeah,
yeah.
role for him.
I like that one
Yeah.
more than the Zack Snyder version. Honestly.
Then the what?
Than the Zack Snyder version. I like that Dawn of the Dead version
Oh, I see.
more.
I got
He
you.
directed the Night of the Living Dead remake, I think, in
Oh, did he? Okay.
1991. Yeah, I think he did.
In '91, that's one with Tony Todd on that one,
I think so. Yeah.
and the color one. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
speaking of R.I.P., as of this
Yeah.
recording, we just
Candyman. He's gonna come
Yeah.
through in our sleep.
yeah yeah we R.I.P. Rest in power to Tony Todd. Yeah, so he made an appearance as a witness in here in Terrifier 3. Again, it's probably because he's a fan, I'm guessing, and he wanted to be in it, so it was really cool. He's also of the horror genre. He's in that circle of films, crew
He was in
actors.
Planet Terror too. He was a
Yes,
cop.
yeah,
Man,
Planet Terror,
his
yeah.
hand gets blown up.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, he's
he
a
usually
huge
likes to
friend
work
of
with.
Robert Rodriguez. Yeah, he directed Night of the Living Dead in
Did he? Okay,
1990.
nice, awesome. Yeah, thanks for confirming that. Yeah, so he's definitely in the horror genre himself, and he's definitely contributed to some of those films. So it was awesome to see him in there in Terrifier
Yeah.
3. So yeah, mall scene. We go from there to
We missed an important part that I just remembered. That
oh, okay,
Sienna spots
Yeah.
Art in the mall before all the messy things happen. She spots
Right.
him right at the mall, and
Yeah.
she doesn't know if it's real or it's her imagination because her PTSD is pretty disturbing. And after this, like that Savini cameo triggers her like to realize that it was actually him in the mall, and now she's freaking the hell out.
yeah, no, yeah, good point. That's yeah, I did forget about that, and that's where I think I mentioned that earlier, and that's where we talk about Sienna's PSD, and she's going through all this trauma, and yeah, she sees Art, but at the time, Art just had the Santa mask, right? She didn't actually see his face, but he
No,
had
but
the
the
bloody suit
gestures,
and
like
necessity.
just the
Yeah,
way he moves, like I think
yeah,
it's like once you know the guy, like just
right.
by seeing him walk, you know it's him. Like
Yeah,
it's so, what's the
yeah.
word?
She
Like
even says to Jonathan, like she felt it, like he's because Jonathan asked her,
he,
her brother,
he
like,
has
how do you know? And she's
such,
like, I felt it.
exactly, the
Yeah,
particular, like how he moves the hand, like how he walks, like
yeah,
he's very peculiar. It's like Jack Sparrow,
yeah,
like you know it's Jack Sparrow. Like
yeah.
yeah,
No, that's a good way to put it. You're right. Yeah, and yeah, she said she felt it, and her being the, his counterpart, the good counterpart to Art. I think they probably have like that some sort of a connection there,
yeah.
where they can just kind of feel each other in that
Like
sense.
Michael Myers and I forgot the name of Jamie Lee Curtis character, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm blanking too. Yeah, will come back to me. But yeah, so you're right. So Sienna did see him, and that's what triggered her to call Jonathan. And then yeah, the news story, and so Sienna starts freaking out like he's back. It's him, and yeah, so that triggers all that. Art shows up, and so another thing I wanted to touch on. After Sienna reaches out to Jonathan, calls him, and she had read the letter that Jonathan sent her, in their time apart when she was writing him, because we mentioned Jonathan's off at school, Sienna's kind of doing her thing. She was kind of getting some help and coping with everything that had happened. And so this is where they start going into the lore again, which I kind of liked, and this is what I touched on before about kind of in the mythology and the lore of Terrifier in general. So, and this comes from her brother, so I presume the brother Jonathan did some research, did some work, and he wanted to know what was going on and what this was all about. And so he ended up telling Sienna what was going on, and she reads it back to him. So she's saying that this is from Jonathan, that so demons try to enter our world, right? So planet Earth, our world, but they can't do it alone. They need a vessel, and that vessel it can't just be anybody. It has to be someone who's recently deceased, who's a sinister person to function as a bridge between worlds. So I'm guessing the world being hell and our world, right? So someone to function as that vessel or that bridge. And so my take is that's who Art is. Art is that vessel. He's that bridge between worlds. So Vicky, she who was previously Vicky, after she kills herself in the tub, she ends up being resurrected, and she's fully possessed she's the host. Her body ends up being the host for this demon now, instead of in Terrifier 2 was a little pale girl, but now this demon jumped into Vicky's body and is using Vicky's body as a host. And so this is the demon that's in the flesh, quote unquote. I think that's what Sienna said, like, if the demon enters our world in the flesh, there must be a counterpart to that demon. And so in this case, it's Sienna, and Sienna starts to realize that after she's reading Jonathan's email, and then she thinks, oh, okay. She remembers because they have flashbacks with her dad, right? Her dad, and she realizes her dad had been prepping her, like he was aware, her dad was made aware, or somebody. He had some sort of messages or signals or something. He just knew that Sienna, his daughter, was this good counterpart, and so he was prepping her, and he made her that sword, and that in Terrifier 2, right, the sword that she ends up having that would belong to her dad. That kind of returns in this one as well, and so this all starts coming together. And so when I started hearing that, I'm like, oh, okay, that explains a lot of stuff from Terrifier 2, and it starts to become more interesting, right? So
I was so lost with that. So like even on the second one, like I couldn't understand what was going on. Like okay, what are they trying to do? I don't get it. But
yeah,
thank you for explaining.
Exactly.
Now,
Same.
Now it
all makes sense now. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I can understand more what they were trying to do, because I couldn't.
No. Yeah, you're right. I didn't either. And that was kind of one of those things where, you kind of just had to watch Terrifier 2 and just kind of go along with it and just accept it for what it was. And then, again, in this one, they kind of went back and they go more into lore mythology, and now Terrifier 2 makes sense. And so I think they're going to continue that. So in Terrifier 4, they're going to continue touching on that mythology and lore. But one of the reasons why I liked it is because it reminded me a lot of Constantine, and another movie I loved, Keanu Reeves, and that kind of had a similar theme about good and evil and angels and demons. And that the difference in that, though, was in Constantine, I think John himself was saying that they can't, the demons can only kind of persuade or manipulate people. They can't actually, they're not supposed to possess them or interfere or something like that. And same thing with the angels. they can kind of only guide them or persuade them. And it was kind of the whole thing about the devil and God having what was like a game or a contest or something, and to kind of see who can have more people. I think that was in this movie. I think that was in Constantine. But yeah, anyways, it reminded me of that, and I really like that mythology and lore, angels and demons, and that kind of carries on to here. So I don't know if that was an inspiration or if that carried on at all, but in this case, it seems like the demons and the angels have more. They're more interactive with the hosts or the people of the world, and so I don't know, I like that. It was just kind of cool mythology on that. What are your thoughts on that, and just how it relates to possibly Constantine?
Before like 10, 15 minutes ago, I couldn't understand anything about what they were trying to do with that part of the story. Like I thought it was ridiculous in the second one, like the whole sword thing, and then bringing this back up into this one was like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah.
I get it. I guess it's okay. This is too much for me. But now that you put it like that, I still think that it's a little too profound for this type of movie, but it's cool that they're trying to bring this good and evil fight to it.
Yeah.
That makes it kind of more interesting. But I hate that I didn't get it while watching it, and that you had to explain it to me. It's like, I hate it because for me, it's like, I don't know if I got lost into other things of the movie or if it just wasn't clear enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I appreciate that you explain. Like, it's always cool when you talk with someone and they make something that you didn't get better. It's cool and makes me want to watch the movie again. But I think it would be interesting, like if Sienna is an angel or a heavenly creature, whatever.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. Like I've always I don't know if you're a fan of Sandman, but I've always liked that comic and the whole idea of like the good and evil and how there's different gods and there's different plans in the world. Like I think that's some kind of interesting concept. Very, very weird to have them try to develop it in this type of movie.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Like I don't know if they had plans, but I think it would be cool if they made a comic and tried to develop that story more. No.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, no, there's definitely potential there to open it up, right? To have like an expanded Terrifier franchise, right? To kind of spread it out to like other aspects and spin-offs and things like that, and either the other demons, whoever is possessing Vicky or the little pale girl, like what the history of that demon, like what else they did in the past or things like that, or just that whole counterpart, that whole relationship between whatever Sienna's role is on the good and then the evil side of the demon there, and just how far back that goes and how long this has been going on. Yeah, there's definitely potential there. So the mall scene, that all goes down. We mentioned the Sienna, she sees Art. She calls up Jonathan. She talks to him. We go through the lore, the whole theory about her thoughts on that. Then Art ends up capturing her aunt, Sienna's aunt, who she was staying with, and the uncle. And she goes, there's that whole scene at the house, and they end up killing the aunt, obviously. And like that was another kind of gruesome, kind of creative way on murdering someone.
That was
with a rat.
Amazing.
Yeah. What did you like about it?
Dude, that whole scene when Vicky's trying to possess Sienna was like, okay. But the moment that Art slaps Sienna's head.
Yeah, the back of the head, that's when I laughed at yeah.
That was great. And also the rats, like that was very disturbing, but it was funny. It was very, very disturbing, but it was like, wow, this guy, like he's very creative, finding new and inventive killing ways. Like, because I thought like the whole rat thing was only gonna stay on the liquid nitrogen scene, was just like, I thought he was just testing it on rats before he was gonna do the Santa Claus thing, but I mean that the rats come back to the scene to have their moment to shine, to be Lemmy Wings.
Yeah.
That was
there was another scene that reminded me of. I can't remember. There was in a movie where that involved something similar like that. But yeah, so that was kind of, yeah, that whole scene was disturbing. You're right. It was just like, man, but it was also like, oh damn. That's kind of one of the things about these movies, right? Like in every movie, like what are they gonna do creatively on like the murders, like, you know, because you know Damien Leone in the scene, they trying to figure out something different, something new to come up with, right?
The uncle, how they're using the intestines as Christmas ornament around the tree.
Was that the uncle?
Yes, that
Because I
was
just
the
realized
uncle.
we just we didn't touch on the couple, that scene.
Ah, well, we can go back to.
We go back. We'll come back to it. We'll say that. But yeah, I, so kind of related. I thought that was the guy like Jonathan's roommate. I thought that's who he had on the wall because of how he was, you know, cut open.
It was the uncle. It was
Was
the
it?
uncle.
Okay.
Yeah,
How can you tell what gave it away?
I think he doesn't have the head,
Right.
and the head is like the star on the Christmas tree.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I didn't even look at. I remember seeing the head, but I didn't get it. So was the head that was the uncle
Yeah.
on the tree? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. That explains it. Never mind. Okay, then there you go. I totally missed that. I saw the head, but I didn't like go in to see. I just assumed automatically that it was the roommate, Jonathan's roommate. But okay, gotcha. Thanks for calling that out.
You know, I'm almost sure that the body was the uncle. Maybe it wasn't, but the head was the uncle. The head on the tree.
Oh,
The
okay.
tree
No, that makes
the
sense.
uncle.
And yeah, because I was wondering, because they never show him getting killed, right? They just,
No.
because waiting in the car. Last we see him, he's waiting in the car.
Yeah, he gets a
from what
phone
was
call
supposed to be.
and
Yeah, and he's there, and then all of a sudden, like, I was wondering, like, we see the ant tied up to the chair, but I'm thinking, you know, what happened to the uncle? So yeah, that makes sense. That's probably what happened to him. They just didn't show it. So yeah, that whole scene, that was a brutal kill. I would say, so we kind of touched on this. I think the most brutal, kind of violent, disturbing kill in the movie, I think, was the chainsaw scene that Art went to town on the couple, Jonathan's roommate and his girlfriend in the shower. I don't know, man. What were your thoughts on that one? Would you say that takes the cake over the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2, or what do you think?
no, the bedroom scene is the bedroom scene.
Yeah, that's just the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that bedroom scene is gonna live in my mind forever.
Whether you like it or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, it was pretty horrible though, the shower scene in Terrifier.
But you know what?
3.
Like it was well deserved. Like that girl was sick, man. Like it was so like seeing how I think that I hated her from the beginning just because how obsessed she is with the case of Sienna's and her brother,
Yeah.
and how she
Yeah.
doesn't see how disturbing and traumatizing was for them, and she thinks like it's this amazing thing to have gone through something so horrible.
Yeah.
And I hated her from the beginning. So seeing her like after Art walks into the dorms and listens to her, and she's like, "Oh, I want to see how he smells.
Yeah. Yep.
Does he have a soul?"
Yeah.
Just hearing that, like, "Oh, you are doomed."
Yeah.
Like,
And he's
you're gonna see
and he's over there
everything.
like around the corner. Art's just in the doorway listening to her say all
Yeah,
that to
it smells
yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, how do I smell? Yeah.
Yeah.
was
No,
brutal.
that was it. Yeah, that's a good point where, you know, that kind of touches, that just goes back to where, yeah, that girl, the girlfriend of the roommate goes up to Sienna, and when she sees her in the mall and saying that she wants to get an interview, and that's where Sienna just kind of breaks up, and we kind of, something else we touched on about Sienna coping with what happened, and she just blows up on that girl. What's her name? Mia. I think it was Mia.
Yeah, yeah.
Sienna blows up on Mia. And like, you know, you just want the info, basically. You want the entertainment. You're not really, you're not being real. But can't you just stop and be a human being for once, or something like that? And she just goes off. And so yeah, and because Mia has a podcast, and she just wants, you know, the popularity. She wants the likes, basically, and the views. And so yeah, Sienna just calls her out. And so in this one, she's trying to get an interview with Jonathan. So Mia's trying to get an interview with Jonathan. And yeah, and Art overhears Mia talking to the roommate, like, I need you to get him an interview. And yeah, he's just listening. And so one of the things I didn't catch that I had read in some comments were that, you know, like you touched on, Mia was saying, you know, I want to see what it feels like to have, to stare in those eyes when he's about to either like kill you, or he's that close, and to see if he has a soul or something like that. So, you know, she says that Then cut to the shower scene, after Art just like hacks her up with a chainsaw. He grabs her head, he takes off his glasses, and he has her look in his eyes, and like he kind of
Yeah.
does that smile. And yeah, I didn't connect those two. I completely forgot about that. And so when I just called that out, I'm like, oh yeah, it does. That's a good catch there.
Yeah, it's a good. That's
Like you said earlier, like she got what she was asking for, right? And
yeah.
that's what she was saying. That's what she wanted to see what it felt like. And yeah, but that scene, that whole scene, that shower scene was just, yeah, that was brutal. Just
Yeah, it was brutal, but well deserved. Well deserved.
yeah,
Like,
for the girl, yeah, the guy I felt bad for, man. It was just like,
yeah, he was just an idiot. But
yeah,
but the girl,
yeah,
yeah, it's the
yeah,
only death in the whole trilogy that I think was deserved because all the
you
other
think so?
people didn't
Yeah.
do anything wrong. Like I get the two girls in the first one didn't do anything wrong. Like they were just
Oh,
having a party, right?
yeah,
Victoria
I
was
think so.
just
Yeah,
a sister of another
yeah,
character, didn't do anything wrong. On the second one, I can't think of anyone who did anything wrong and got killed. Like the guy in the costume shop, like he was just doing his job.
yeah. He was just doing his job. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But this is the first character that you're like, yeah, you deserve it.
It was kind of one that you feel like, okay, you don't feel as bad, which I see what you're
Yes.
saying, because
Yeah.
how they were acting, yeah, or how the girl, I should say, was getting all up in, yeah,
Yeah.
she
I have
was.
a thing against that kind of people.
Yeah, yeah, and it kind of again goes against one of those tropes they have in horror movies. One, they were having sex while they were getting killed, so it's kind of typical, right? Like teenagers or
Yeah.
young adults having sex and just end up being the victims in a horror movie. Friday the 13th, I think in Halloween too. There was that. The other one being, there's always that curiosity of people like, oh, I wonder how it's like, or like we were saying, like Mia was saying, she's was curious to see how that felt, or to be in that situation, or to have that fear, or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, they added it here, but I think it was done. It was done with taste, as far as well as taste can go. But I mean, they added it tastefully, I should say, like those tropes. It wasn't kind of like a parody. It like fit with the character in the scene, is what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah. It was a good scene. Like
Yeah.
the way that he cuts the guy's butt, that was
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Right up the
yeah.
tailpipe. Yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
what I love, like
yeah.
I love that every kill he has always ends up with a gag.
With a what?
He's with a gag or something. Like at
Oh
the end, he
yeah, a
makes the
gag. Yeah,
little snow angels
yeah,
with all the blood on the floor. It's like there's always a moment of like, all right, there was a lot of tension. Now let's breathe,
yep.
breathe and make something stupid. It's always the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, and that yeah, it kind of touches on. That's a good example. I was touching on about how, like, yeah, there's something disturbing going on one second, the next second, yeah, they just kind of make light of it, and yeah, he lays down and he's making snow angels and the blood on the floor in the shower.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's just like it immediately flips a switch into like making something kind of light of that. Yeah, it's just funny. So yeah, I think we touched on that scene, and then obviously the final showdown. Sienna ends up getting free, because she had went to go get the sword after seeing Art come back. She went to Terrifier. For those that didn't catch it, is the name of the ride, right?
yeah,
In that they go to in Terrifier 2. So I don't know how it came for the first one. I don't know how that name came about, but there was an actual ride called Terrifier at the amusement park that they were at in Terrifier 2. So Sienna mentions here in this one, I need to go back to the Terrifier. And they kind of, imply, I think Johnson asks, is it still there or something like that? And they're referring to the sword. And she's like, yeah, I think so, or something like that. So yeah, she goes to get it. She wraps it up as a present. And she puts it behind the tree because she feels like she's going to need it. She's getting ready. Vicky, the demon, has captured Gabby, and she's holding Gabby, and then Art has her hostage. They had already killed the uncle and the aunt, and then Gabby makes a mention of, she won't get to open her present, or it's too bad, or something like that, and she hints at it, and Vicky plays along and allows Sienna to open a present that Gabby picked, and ends up being the sword, which was kind of cool. I liked how they touched on, again, kind of some kind of clever writing in that. I think the uncle had mentioned that Gabby snoops around for gifts and presents right when they're eating at the table, I think, and she mentions that Gabby's like snoops around and she investigates and she likes to find the gifts basically. And so this kind of implied that she had looked at what it was, and even Vicky mentions, she's like, "You wrapped this yourself?" asking Gabby, and she's like, "Yeah." And Vicky says, I think she says it's like shitty job or something like that, to kind of mean that it was already opened. Basically, she opened it up and Gabby saw what it was, and that's why she specifically chose that gift for Sienna to open. So, yeah, and then the showdown, Art versus Sienna, and that sequence or that scene there was really cool. That kind of, as I mentioned, on the movie poster here, they called Sienna the final girl, and I think they really showcase that here in this scene. It was just so cool. She, they show her as a badass that she was meant to be. She doesn't have her armor on, but she has a sword. And then Art, he grabs his chainsaw, and her and Art are fighting. And they're going. This is already after Sienna grabs a sword and she impales Vicky and cuts off her head. So she takes her out, and then and it's just really cool. And I think I got some photos here of that. Let's see here. Here we go. Yeah, this showdown here. So I added a couple of photos. So they did the choreography on this was really cool. And she goes out. She really Lauren Lavera sold it and killed it in this scene because she was. Scene. Yeah, it was. You can see she was really into it. It kind of, she had that same energy and emotion that, again, calling back to Sigourney Weaver as Ripley in Aliens. You know how Ripley went up against Alien Queen in Aliens. My favorite Aliens movie, by the way. But this reminded me of that as well, where she's like, "Come on!" And she calls Art out, and they just go to town, and she just sells it. It was so awesome. This is a scene I would go back and watch multiple times, let alone the whole movie. But yeah, really cool. She nails it with the final girl. What were your thoughts on this whole final scene and just Lauren Lavera as a final girl?
I had fun. I didn't like the whole hiding the sword in a present box. I think that was kind of dumb. Like if she knew the clown was coming to get her, she would have kept her under the bed or something. So I think it was
that's a good point. Yeah, true.
Like I said at the beginning, I know what kind of movie we're watching, and everything is gonna play out of convenience, not practicality. Yeah. But it's kind of ridiculous that you wrap your only weapon, the only thing that can save you from the evil satanic clown, and you put it under the tree where it's not easy to get in case he shows up. Like, come on. Like, that was a little stupid for me, but okay, I get it. It was a good thing to get us to this fight. I really like how her wounds healed, like how all of the little, well, not little, like the guy broke her hands. Yeah. I liked it. I had fun with this. Then it turned ridiculous again with the hole in the ground taking you to the underworld or whatever that is.
Or to hell, yeah.
I liked it. I like the scene. Like, my only complaint is the sword in the box.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't think about it that way. I guess my only thought reasoning for that would be like she didn't want her aunt or uncle, because I'm guessing she didn't know they were going to be there, so she didn't want them to see the sword and ask what it was, just because it's so long and hard to conceal. She could have put it in a bag or wrapped it up in something, but she just, like in a shirt or a towel or I don't know, something
under the bed. Like, she could have the same box under the bed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she could have just, I think she was gonna go put it in her room or somewhere, but she heard something and she hid it behind. Oh, I think Gabby was coming or something like that.
Yeah, she was coming down
behind the tree. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, why she wrapped it though? Yeah, that one.
That one's beyond me.
I probably wasn't necessary, but it did add to the story though. So yeah, I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, it did add to it, and it did make the ending more exciting and kind of more suspenseful when she was opening it.
It's part of horror movies. Like, characters are stupid. Like, that's how it always is.
Yeah. I want to say she had, because they make Sienna pretty, like, she's planning ahead. So I think she had a reason. They probably just didn't do a good job of explaining why. Yeah. But there was something there. So it was, no, you're right. It was cool nonetheless. And then just, she just, how she pulled the sword out of the box and just started, she just went for it. And yeah, so her and Art were going through this fight scene, and here on the picture on the right, they kind of have this showdown. And again, this is like a good, kind of good image here of good versus evil here with Sienna and Art. He's just laughing at her, and she's all pissed, and you kind of see the contrast there between the two. And I thought that was a good photo. That's one of the reasons why I got that snapshot there, is just because not only are they fighting, but they get kind of tied up, and they're kind of just staring each other down. It was really cool. So I like
Forgot
that
about the thorn crown.
Oh yeah, how Vicky put the crown of thorns on her head. Yeah, so she was Sienna, man, she always gets it pretty bad. And Terrifier 2, also when Art was kind of hitting her with that cat of nine tails weapon thing, that mace thing or whatever it was, and it was kind of like, oh man, I cringed every time she got hit. But yeah, here too, she appears stronger, right? She just has that strength, even with all these injuries. She's still fighting and fought back, and so it was really cool. And then, yeah, like you said, I was kind of a little, I don't say I was fully on board with the direction they took about, the demon's blood kind of spilling out and opening up that, I'm guessing it was like a gateway to the underworld or hell or whatever. So it was kind of, because they jumped a lot into that. That was kind of like a big leap into that aspect of the story, right? The whole mythology. And so, I don't know, maybe because it was a big jump that I wasn't fully on board, but at the same time, I'm thinking it might be a setup for how they're going to approach Terrifier 4, right? There's probably going to be more mythology now that they explained it here. So I'm guessing, my thought is they're probably going to go into the actual underworld or hell or whatever you want to call it, that they're going to go after Gabby, because, as you guys know, we've seen the movie, Gabby ends up falling down despite Sierra's efforts in trying to save her with the sword. Gabby falls down, and Art ends up getting away. He goes out through the window because Sienna had impaled him against the wall with the sword, but she had to make a choice to save Gabby because she was falling in the hole, or kill Art, and so she left Art, went after Gabby, handed Gabby the sword. Sienna grabbed the blade, but Gabby still fell. And then, yeah, like Alex mentioned, because I think they touched on this, and I don't know if it was in this movie or the previous movie, but the sword can't hurt Sienna, so she ended up healing her hands. That the wounds that she got from holding the blade of the sword, her hands ended up healing. So that was kind of interesting. So that also touched on more of the mythology in the lore there. They kind of took another leap in there. I don't think we've seen anything like that happen up until that point, like her healing or anything like that.
She heals on the second one, with the sword. She? Like, yeah, like she gets stabbed by Art, and she heals.
Does she? Okay, maybe I'm forgetting that one. Okay, yeah, I know she had went and she was like in that water, in that
water tank.
She ends up, and then she ends up coming. She ends up coming back to life. I think you kind of think at one point she's dead, but she comes back to life. So, yeah, she has some abilities. I don't know if it's through the sword or it's just like within her.
I think it's the sword, because the moment she touches the sword is when her hand won't heal. So I think the sword, okay. I think the sword is the source.
The sword is, okay, gotcha. More to come, but we shall see. Terrifier 4. But so it ends with Art at the bus stop. He gets on Sienna's, she mentions, I'll find you, and she's left all alone in the house. All her relatives are, Gabby's missing, her aunt and her uncle are dead. Jonathan, we even touched on Jonathan.
We don't know about him.
Yeah. So they just imply. So at first, Vicky, they show when Vicky's has her aunt tied up, with Sienna's aunt tied up. She says so they have a skull in front of them too, right? And they say it's Gabby. And then the aunt believes it ends up being Aunt Gabby, but it turns out it's not. So Victoria ends up telling, after she kills the aunt, she tells Sienna that it's not Gabby. And then we're thinking, okay, then whose head is that? And so they imply that it's Jonathan, right? Because they put the glasses, Art puts the glasses on that skull. And so, so that they don't really say, but they kind of imply that it's Jonathan, but no one ever says. And so, like to what you're saying, I personally think he's still alive, and he's going to come back in Terrifier 4 again, because they didn't show his death at all. They just showed him, last we saw him, he was laying on the bed, he was waking up. And then that was it. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we'll see him again?
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna see him again. Yes, of course.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
What do you?
it's
What
leverage.
do you think, so you think they intentionally didn't show him to bring him back in the fourth
Yeah.
somehow, or do you think
Yeah.
there was some issue like in production or something where they?
No, I
had
think they're
everybody's-
gonna bring him in the fourth one. But I think they
Gotcha.
shot a scene most likely of what happened to him and decided to remove it just to make it more impactful when they show the skull. But I think most people think that he's alive.
Okay.
I don't
Gotcha. Yeah.
like he's a very important character just to kill him off screen. So
Yeah, that's true.
he'll be back.
Yeah, no way. Yeah, I don't think they would have killed him off. You're right, like that. So I think he's still alive as well. So I think they're going to bring him back. Again, it kind of goes to the mythology and the lore and the setup of the fourth one. So I think it's going to be Sienna, Jonathan, going after, and they'll probably get some more help. So they'll probably go down after Gabby, and Sienna, they're going to have this army of good. That are joining Sienna and Jonathan, and then they're going to go up against obviously Art and whatever demon that was possessing Victoria.
I hope the little girl comes back.
Yeah, that'd be yeah. So everyone's going to go up. It's like kind of have like your own like little mini Avengers Endgame type situation. Yeah, where they're all fighting each other.
Yeah, I think the ending of this movie is like Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good analogy.
It's kind of the same thing, like because
or comparison. I
if
should
you
say.
if you think of it, like the first one, it's more like Terrifier 1 is more like a proof of concept.
Yeah.
Like they are showing what this clown can do, and the second one is where they start creating the lore and all of this. So this one is like the second act. So the hero, Sienna, is completely lost her way. She made terrible decisions. Everyone is dead because of her. And now she needs to gather the strength and go kill the clown. So I think it's kind of like that in the style of Empire Strikes Back, where all hope is lost and they need to find a way to make everything right again. I think. I don't know.
No, that's actually a good comparison. Yeah, I can see that. I can see the similarity in that because like in A New Hope, we have Luke. I guess in this case would be Sienna's equivalent, or kind of like the similar character, where he starts off, he's kind of doing his thing. He's kind of naive, doesn't know what's going on, but then he starts. Obi in that case starts training him. He develops as a character from episode 4 to 5, then 6. He becomes a master. We kind of see that progression, and so yeah, I kind of see that here. With Sienna, so she doesn't really have an Obi-Wan figure, but she's kind of developing and progressing herself. So starting from Terrifier 2 though, where she first appears, and then 3. So in 4, I agree. I can totally see that, which has me more excited, to tell you the truth. Kind of see her, come back as that quote unquote master, that warrior that she's just already have. She's fought Art multiple times. She's been through a lot, so she has that experience, and she has that more of that. She's more of a warrior now, right? She's just kind of more of a badass, I guess.
She needs to embrace that part too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, she acknowledges her role and her destiny, what she needs to do, and she's accepted all of it, and she just she owns it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, especially with this end scene here that we had in Terrifier 3. That showdown was really cool. So yeah. What is that?
The little horn with Art at the end in the bus.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so that's how the movie ends, with Art at the bus stop. He gets on the bus and he just has like this kind of straight stoic face, and he just has the horn and he honks it, and it just ends there. Yeah. So definitely a cliffhanger there, and I'm looking forward to seeing how what's going to happen in the fourth one, how it's going to carry over, and we'll see if this takes Damien Leone and team another year to complete. So if they're going to follow the same suit, I wonder if they're going to give him more time. And I just want him, to keep doing what he's doing. Right? He's just this is awesome. I'm rooting for him and everyone else on the film, and making it successful, making it their own, and showing everybody like, hey, we can do this, and this is their passion project. So I hope that continues for them. And if they don't need to do it in a year, take your time, let them cook, basically. Let them do their thing, and unless they have some pressures from whoever, distributors or whatever. But Yeah, no rush. Terrifier fans will still be here. If not, you'll have more, uh, regardless. So yeah, just
He's gonna make a lot of money with the next one.
yeah, he already has. I'm sure he already has, man. They're doing
Yeah,
well.
yeah, but with the
Doing
next
well.
one, with the fourth one, I'm sure like if
It's gonna keep going. Yeah, it's only been
yeah,
up, man. Yeah,
yeah,
it's only been going. It's getting
he would
progressively more and
have to
more.
do something really, really bad to lose money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think at some point, I think yeah, people might get tired of it, but we'll see. He hasn't reached that yet, so we'll
No,
see. I think
I
people,
think
their
this
fans are
one
still.
is the first time that it gets like global attention
Yeah,
because I think like at least in Latin America, like you didn't hear in the mainstream uh, like people talking about the movie. It was more about like horror fans, but now like
yeah,
everybody knows what Terrifier is.
yeah, yeah. And like I was saying, highest grossing unrated movie of all time, which is awesome.
Yeah,
So again, kudos to Damon Leone
yeah,
and team. That's so awesome. Man. So hopefully, I wish you guys continued success. Hopefully, you keep doing it. I'm still going to be watching them as a fan, so I'm rooting for you all. But Alex, okay, I think we discussed it a lot. Almost going on that 3 hour mark, man. At least the recording here. But what? So overall thoughts? I know you already touched on that, but if you had to give it a grade, I guess, what would you give Terrifier? 3.
as a horror movie, as a gore movie, as like as in the inside that genre, I would give it an 8. As a movie, I would give it a 6.5.
Okay, gotcha.
But
Yeah, I would
as a
say.
horror fan, an 8. Yeah.
Yeah, summarize your pros and cons on your score again.
I my biggest problem is that I think it's trying too much to develop a backstory. In my experience, like when you try to explain too much, things begin to stop being scary.
I
And
see.
sometimes the less you know, the better.
Yeah.
So that's my problem. But I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of feel this way. So I think that's pretty much it. Because all the killings and the fun, like all that is there, and it delivers. Like it's a movie that delivers what you're like. I'm not a fan of Fast and the Furious, but I know that people go and watch those movies because they want to
Right.
see cars
It's entertainment. Yeah.
and yeah, and ridiculous things. Like they don't go to see story development
Yeah.
and incredibly immersive filmmaking scenes or whatever. They don't go for that. Like, and it's like we go to watch this movie because we like bloody stuff, and yeah, you can't expect too much of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would have to agree with you there. I think so. As a horror movie, rating it as a horror movie, I would probably give it. I want to say, I would. Man, I don't know. I would probably like a 7. Again, just because of the reasons of the writing, the story itself. I think there is a story there. They were trying to have like some story there, but it did, like I mentioned in the beginning, it was seemed kind of disjointed. There were some parts where it looked like it was kind of obvious they cut some stuff out. So Terrifier 2 would be, I would rank higher. This one, I think I would give that one an 8 personally. This one as a horror movie, 7. The bar for me though is Conjuring, just for reference for all those. Like I think that's my top horror movie. The story there was real. I think was done really well, and a lot of aspects they nailed with that one. So that's my top horror movie. And then as a movie overall, again, kind of hard. And it's kind of unfair to rate it with all other movies, but yeah, I would probably give it. I would probably say a 6, maybe a 6 or a 7. Also, actually, it's in there. I mean, there's probably more on the 6 actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's some things that it did well, and some things that it didn't. Obviously, like I mentioned the story there, but Lauren Lavera killed it. The acting was really done well. We mentioned Art the Clown, David Howard Thornton. I think he did a great job with acting without speaking, as we touched on. So I think him and Lauren Lavera as Sienna, they killed it. The other characters, I think they did a good job. The actors, the actresses, but those two stole the show for sure. So the acting was there. The music was tense. overall score. You know, I think they did go with the score that definitely added to it. The effects, I love the prosthetics, the effects,
Oh yeah.
and the makeup. They were on point with there. So shout out to that team who did that. And yeah, I think I enjoyed it. This is, I mean, it's not a great movie, but it is good in my opinion, and one that I would definitely watch for the season, right? For that time of season, whether it be either Christmas or Halloween now. I kind of go on my rotation. But yeah, so that was our take. I know it's a long one, but I appreciate you all for watching, for joining us here today. Alex, thank you again. I appreciate your time. As always, anytime you come on, we discuss movies. It's always a pleasure. So thank you for coming on. I enjoyed having you on, and hopefully you can come on again in the future.
For sure. Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, man, for sure. And then, of course, like I mentioned, I'll have his links in the description below. So check out his channel, his social media, show him some love if you like his stuff, his content. And yeah, for everything else, again, keep all my content will be my description. The link for all my stuff will be in the description as well. You can find out my other channel, Feezys Figures, if you're interested in that stuff. But just keep an eye out on the channel for notifications or any other future upcoming content. At the moment, I don't have anything scheduled, but I will be working on some things. And again, thank you. Thank you all for your support, for your time. I appreciate it. Hope you have a good one, and I'll talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.